Let's talk about differential functions or differentiation, as the name implies. What is differentiation? Differentiation is all about the change that occurs in a variable. We have variables. Variables are always used in mathematics. So the change that occurs in those variable is what we call differentiation. So now it can be applied in real life. Applying them in real life, we talk about price of commodities in the market. So the constant change that occurs in the price of those commodities are what we call differentiation. So we can determine the change that occurred in those prices. Now, we talk about salary ranges. So the change that occurs in the salaries are what we call differentiation. So in our everyday life, changes is inevitable. And those changes that occur is what we want to determine using differentiation. And in mathematics, it is called differentiation. Let's use an example as S is equals to T. S is equals to T. Let's say that S is equals to salary paid per month. This salary that is paid per month, it will take 1 month for it to be paid. And the 1 month that it takes is what we call the T, which is the time. The time taken to pay that month. So within the month, there are changes that has occurred. So with time. So in mathematics, it can be written as S is equals to the function of what? S is equals to the function of what? T. So S is a function of what? T. So that is how it is written in differentiation. So the changes that occur in those things, those commodities in the market, and all their changes that occur in our everyday operation is what we call differentiation. And how do we denote that differentiation? We denote by differentiation that the change with what? Change in x. We can call it dx or change in x, or you call it delta x. So the change can occur in y, it can occur in u, and so on. It can occur in c. So determined by what? By the variable you are using. So we have dy dx. But this is usually used in mathematics to find the change that occurred in a variable or in an expression. Now, let's take an example. We have y is equals to 2x squared plus 4. Now, in this expression, we have just made an expression. He said y is equals to 2x squared plus 4. So we want to find the change that occurred in this y is equals to 2x squared plus 4. So in differentiation, we have a standard way of solving differentiation, and we have what we call the first principle method of solving differentiation. And we want to first of all find this man using the first principle method of solving differentiation to determine the value of this. Then the using first principle method is very, very long. It's very, very confusing. But you have to cool down and calm down for you to understand it very well. But using the standard way of solving differentiation, it is very, very simple. You can just solve it closing your eyes. So that is why we want to determine this using first principle method of solving differentiation. And solving this using first principle method, it deals with the procedures. And what are those procedures that we will use in order for us to determine the value of this or the change that occurs in y and the independent variable and the dependent variable? So now, the steps that we can use are: number one, you will have to do what? Using this, we have to find the change. First of all, you find the change that occurred in both sides of the equation. So we have the first side and the second side, which is the dependent and the independent variable. You find the change that occurred in them. Then secondly, having found the change that occurred in both variables, the second step that you will take is to do what? Is to subtract y from both sides. Subtract y from both sides. Subtracting y from both sides, you subtract y from here, you subtract y from here. That is the second step. Then the third step is what? Having subtracted y from both sides, what do you have to do? You simplify. You can either simplify before you go to the next step. Simplifying, we have a common term or a like term that can cancel out or that you can sum up. You can do that before you go to the next step. And the next step is what? Defining your y. What is your y? Remember we said that y is equal to 2x squared plus 4. So 2x squared plus 4 is our y. You can simply come and draft this 2x squared plus 4 to replace the value of to replace y there. That is what we mean by defining your y. Then you can simplify. When you simplify further, you can go to the next step. Then the next step is what? When you might have defined your y, the next step is to divide both sides by changing x. Divide both sides, both the right hand side and the right hand side with the change in x, which is the change that occurred in x. You divide both sides by them, then you simplify. Then the last step is to do what? Is to change in x, that is limit. You limit the change in x for us to get the final answer. You limit the change that occurred in x to what? 0. That is limit change in x tends to 0. Then you solve and you get your final answer. Now let's solve this man using the steps that I have just mentioned. Then solving this man, we have the first step we said is to do what? To find the change that occurred in both sides. We have y plus the change that occurred in y is equals to 2 into x plus the change that occurred in x, all bracket. Remember that x is squared here, so you have to square x. So plus 4. This 4 is a constant, so that it has no variable. Since it has no variable attached to it, so you have to write it as it is. So since it has no variable. Now, the third step is to do what? Is to subtract y from both sides. We subtract y. Y plus the change that occurred in y minus y is equals to 2 into x plus the change. This is x plus change in x. Then and x. Then raised to the power of 2 plus 4. Then what do we have again? We will subtract y, as we said before. Then you have positive y, you have negative y. This y and this y can cancel out. You remain with what? The change that occurred in y. And the change that occurred in y is equals to 2 into x plus the change that occurred in x raised to the power of 2 plus 4 minus y. From here now, we can define our y. And remember we said that y is equals to 2x squared plus 4. So we can simply come and lift this man, lift this here and replace it with, replace y with it. So we can determine to do that, or we simplify this bracket. Then simplifying this bracket means we have to open the bracket. Then remember that this is into 2. Let's open the bracket first. Now we have the y, change in y is equals to 2 bracket 2 into x plus the change that occurred in x. Then open bracket again, x plus the change that occurred in x. Then plus your 4 minus y. Then we have to simplify. Then use this bracket to open this bracket. This 2 is covering both the two brackets. So we simplify. We have change in y is equals to 2 into x multiplied by x, we have x squared. X multiplied by change in x, we have plus x change in x. Then plus change in x multiplied by change in x, we have plus x change in x. Then have change in x multiplied by change in x, we have plus change in x raised to the power of 2 plus 4 minus y. So now we can simplify again. Now, simplifying again, what do we have to do now? We have to collect like terms. Collecting like terms now, what do we have to do? We have change in y is equals to 2 bracket what? We have x squared. We have changing x plus x changing x plus x changing x. We have 4x changing x. We have plus 4x changing x. Then plus our changing x raised to the power of 2. Then we have plus what? 4 minus y. From here now, we can still further do what? Simplify the bracket. Simplify the bracket again, we have y is equals to 2 times x squared. We have 2x squared plus 2 times, sorry, this is 4. This is 2. We have this to this, we have 4x change in x. This to this, we have plus 2x change in x. Then raised to the power of 2 plus 4 minus y. Then, having that now, what we have to do, we can then get the value of y. Getting the value of y now, what do we have to do? We said change in y is equals to 2x squared plus 4x change in x plus 2 bracket change in x squared plus 4 minus our change in y. We said y is equals to 2x squared plus 4. 2x squared plus 4. We open the bracket. Change in y is equals to 2x squared plus 4x change in x plus 2 bracket x change in x raised to power 2 plus 4 minus times 2x squared. We have minus 2x squared. Then minus times this, we have minus 4 minus 4. Then what we have to do again, we now have like terms that can cancel out. We have 4 cancel 4. We have plus 4 cancel minus 4 here. Then we have minus changing minus 2x squared. Then we have plus 2x squared. Then we remain with what? Changing y is equals to 4x plus change in x plus 2 into change in x raised to power of 2. Then what again do we have to do? Then we said that our next step is to do what? To divide both sides by changing x. Dividing both sides by changing x, we have dividing x is equals to 4x change in x all over dividing x plus 2 into x raised to power of 2 divided by change in x. So what do we have now? We can cancel change in x, cancel change in x, cancel change in x here. Remember that change in x here is 2. So we cancel one of it. Canceling one of it now, we arrive to an answer. Arriving to an answer, we have dy dx is equals to 4x. 4x then plus 2 into change in x. Then our last step is to do what? To lim change in x. Lim change in x tends to what? 0. Since we have to get our answer and we have this man, that is why we're limiting change in x to 0. Then, and this limiting x to change in x to 0 is only affecting this side of the equation. So we have dy dx now is equals to 4x plus 2, 0. Then, since we are limiting it to 0, what do we have from here now? We have change in y all over change in x is equals to 4x. And this is our final answer. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you found this so interesting, subscribe to my YouTube channel, comment, like, and share. God bless you.